Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So in front of me you can see a Thomas Wood item. Now if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'd know that I said I'm not going to get any more Thomas Wood destinations, they're just not worth it. But I did find just after Christmas this Thomas Wood item here on Amazon for an incredibly discounted price. So it is the 2018 unpainted version, as you can see from this little bit here. But I thought, you know what? Let's take a look at it, because I have a feeling this might be a destination that's actually half decent. But we'll find out in this review. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the box. As you can see, classic box at the front. Again, the size of these boxes never ceases to amaze me. Like, it's a huge box, given that really the actual crane is just this little bit here. Like, this is all extra, that's all padding, there's 2 pieces of track there, and there's 2 pieces of adapters hidden here, but anyway, that's okay. We'll come around to the side, you can see, you get a picture of the thing. Come around to the back, you can see the rest of it. Again, I don't like the way this is done diagrammatically, because you can see, is that a word? You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of track pictured on the back here, which are not included in this set, and I think that's quite problematic. I really don't like it when they do that, even though they say, needs more tracks, additional track not included. I don't know, I don't like it. If we come up here to the weird little, bio, it doesn't want to focus, which is great. You can see that it's super weird. Here we go. Aha, there we go. Still working out this new camera. You can see that that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. It seems fine. Is that sustainable seafood? Oh, I just don't think those are the things that kids think about. But like, all right, okay. All right, Mattel, yep, if you say so. All right, so that is this box. Now let's rip them open. All right, so you can see here I've taken all of the pieces out of the actual set that you get. And once it's out like this, it's far less impressive than that big box would have you described. Because remember, we've got these 2 very cheap and nasty plastic adapters that don't really do anything, because unless you have old Thomas & Friends track to attach them to, not super helpful. Then we get 2 of these. Now these are the same as the ones we've seen in the Cranky set and other sets that are like it. They're only printed on 2 sides, which I talked about. And I from my understanding, this actually hasn't changed. They're still printed like this even on the new version, but I haven't seen any of the new printed ones in real life, only the renders. And the renders are notoriously unreliable, so someone else might have to confirm that for me. So you get 1 solid block wooden one, and you get 1, not solid, empty plastic one, if that makes sense, hollow, because it's got fish inside, which, again, it's a bit of a gimmick. Like, look how many fish are actually in there, like, just look at that, and they kind of rattle around, but they're also kind of stuck behind the magnet. So, yeah, mileage may vary on whether you think that's worth anything. We've got the little driver lady here. Cool. I like the logo they've got here, but again, I don't really like these figures. I think they're a bit silly. So, mileage may vary on that also, and you can see that's what she does, like this. Cool. The next thing we get here is a troublesome truck in green, which is interesting. And again, I've talked about these trucks in my other reviews. I just think they're just so weird. Excuse me, this autofocus is just really not liking me. There we go. It's really weird how, like, it's a low truck, but it's got these high ends. I don't know, I would have preferred them to make it high all the way around. So it'll just be more consistent as it sits. I think it's a bit awkward. Troublesome truck on the bottom. As you can see, this is the unpainted one. The chassis here is unpainted. And look, you can actually see the little bit where they've glued the face on. Here we go, I can show it to you there. I could probably pop that out. Anyway, you get 2 pieces of the Thomas & Woods straight track, although you can see they've got these little nubs on them because they connect to the crane. Now, as you can still see here in this picture, there's so much dust on this crane. I had to wipe this off camera when I opened it, because it was so disgusting and dusty, which probably explains the price I got this for, which I'll talk about in a moment. So you can see that the crane by itself just rotates. There's friction, but there's no like ratchet or anything on this part here. And then it's got a spring-loaded crane arm, so it does this, which is kind of cool, I guess. And then you've got this little bit of movement there in the magnet part. So that's how that works. You can see we've got a space for the driver to sit, although again, as I've talked about in the other ones, although she can sit there, she's not very stable. You can see it won't take very much for her just to fall out. So I think it's a bit silly that they don't have like a little mechanism where you can actually kind of click them in like Lego figures, for example. And you can see here we've got the details here, nothing on the sides, random transfer yards. We've got this piece of wood. Again, interesting to note, this is Thomas Wood, and just this roof piece and this core piece are made of wood. The rest of it, this base part's all plastic, and the base part's got some interesting detailing. We've got some caution signs. I don't know why it's cut off on this weird angle, but anyway, that's okay. So what we do here is just a really easy assembly. You just slide the nubs over these little connectors on here, and you end up with this. So you get this much track. And then my understanding is the truck comes along and we put a piece of cargo in here. Put our little lady in there, and then we da. So this does work, which is good. I was a bit like, maybe it won't work. And it's got just enough, literally by a millimeter, there is enough space for the crane to lift the cargo over the top. And then we come around and oh, there's no other truck. So you just I guess you just load it onto here, and then it doesn't. Oh. Interesting. So you can see the play pattern here kind of doesn't make much sense. Like, what's the point of having this magnet spring release feature if then there's no way to then disconnect the cargo? Like, to me, I don't mind. Like, obviously, there's going to be a point where you have to physically pull it off the magnet. But then why have this spring mechanism at all? Why not just have it on like a winch or on a friction joint, so I can just kind of, do it however I want? Because now, for example, this doesn't go down far enough to pick it off the ground. It's trying. You can see it trying. So then, they don't give you another troublesome truck to transfer the cargo into. But also, if you put the cargo on the ground, you break the play pattern because you can't pick it up again. So I think that is a bit silly, because I don't understand what the play pattern for this set is supposed to be. You only get one truck, so you can't transfer from truck to truck, and you also can't transfer onto the ground. Importantly too, there's really not that much space here for you to put. There's, again, literally by a millimeter. If you put this right up into the corner, there's enough space to put a piece of cargo here. But why didn't they make this square so you could pile up, have a little pile of cargo? Because then if you've got a pile, funny enough, you can actually pick up the one on the top. So I really don't understand. Again, when I saw this set, I was like, oh, has potential to be fun. Looks kind of interesting. It has some, it's railway realism. It's kind of cranes and cargo and all that kind of cool stuff. But in the same way that Cranky's play pattern made no sense because he had no trucks, this makes no sense because you only have one truck, and the crane, the feature of the set, is really limited in its articulation and what it can do. So, as you can tell, I'm actually quite disappointed in this set because when I saw it, and I bought it, I was like, this seems something that's kind of interesting, but alas, it seems the play pattern, the words, has again failed. Alright, so what do I finally think of this set? So I think, again, as we've constantly been saying with the Thomas Wood stuff, there's just so much poor execution in this line. Whoever's designing these needs to be fired. And I mean that because they're not good toys. This has so much potential to be a good toy. But if you, for example, they say, oh, you don't have a budget to include another truck, I would have said, alright, I will cut these two pretty much useless pieces of triangle plastic off. I will remove that sticker, both of which would have saved costs, and use that to include a second truck. Heck, you know what? I would get rid of one of these cargo pieces and had a second truck, because there's just no point in this set of being able to transfer in the transfer yards if you have nothing to transfer to. It doesn't make any sense. And then, because of the way this is limited, you can't even transfer from the ground. You know, like you can't transfer from the ground up to a truck. You know, like the play pattern, the reason this set exists functionally does not operate. I'm raising my voice because it makes me very mad that people get paid a lot of money to do things very badly, when I, who do not get paid a lot of money to do my job, could have done it better. That said, for what you actually get, I think the value in this set is bad if you pay full price, given that I think in Australia, I saw this set hovering around $55 to $60 Australian, which is nuts, like totally nuts. This is not even close to be worth $60. But the reason I picked this set up is because I saw on a Christmas deal or post-Christmas deal on Amazon, this set retailed for 24 Australian dollars with free postage because I'm Amazon Prime. So for 24 Australian dollars, I think this set is actually quite good. You get a decent sized, you know, destination, you get a wagon, you get some cargo, you get these adapters, which if you're someone who has a lot of Thomas Wooden Railway, you know, you want as many of these things as you can possibly get. You do get 2 pieces of track. Yes, they're limited to, you know, this set, but it's very easy to start connecting stuff onto them. Yeah, I think for $24, this is absolutely $24 worth of stuff. It's just unfortunate that, again, even if it's very cheap, it doesn't overcome the fact that you really can't play with this unless you know, use your imagination to use the crane, which then defeats the purpose. Like, well, I don't know what the point of having a crane is if I have to imagine unloading and loading it. I could just do that myself. But the other part that I think is kind of silly is that, you know, if you bring in your own wagons, I guess, you can kind of overcome the fact that, oh, you've only got one. For example, I have, you know, quite a few troublesome trucks now because of the vast amounts of Thomas Wood that I bought. So I would have no problem setting up a layout with this set. So that's kind of my thoughts on this. In summary, a very big disappointment, a lot of very dumb choices. And then I'm actually kind of still disappointed to see that this set, you know, unchanged, is being re-released as a painted Thomas Wood item, because I think at full price, or even fully painted, there's just no way this is worth the amount of money that they want you to pay for it. It's just not. It's just a rip-off. At less than half price, I think if you're looking for another destination, if you're looking for more adapters, if you're looking for more trucks or more cargo, this can be good. But again, don't expect to get the play features out of it that you would want. So if you're, you know, if your kid doesn't mind imagining things, totally fine. But if they want to actually be able to play out the story, you might have some problems. But maybe I'm just being really mean and grumpy. I know a lot of people have really not liked Thomas Wood, and I have sometimes liked it. Again, as I keep saying in all my videos, you can see I've got Thomas Wood version 1 on display at the back of my work desk, not, you know, the new ones, because I actually think they look kind of cool in a really weird kind of way. So I want you to let me know, am I being reasonable? Am I being unreasonable? Give me your thoughts. I always love to hear them. It's why I'm so glad I can keep comments on these videos, because they are designed for people over the age of 13, as most of the people, or pretty much all the people who comment on my videos are. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Do those cool things to do on YouTube. That's what I've got time for. This is Extreme Trains.